What's a terrible movie that critics hated, but you loved? I once walked out of Target with a bag of unpaid groceries in my tote purse because I had dropped them in there thinking it was my shopping tote. Was very distracted when checking out and didn't realize until I was home. That night Dr. Google taught me a ton about Target's facial recognition system and I haven't been back since. They generally won't do anything unless it's over $1,000. Not worth their time. I accidentally stole a clothes hamper from Target once because I didn't notice the one I was buying had another one stacked inside and apparently neither did the cashier. At most they will follow you around when you go back. I don't know where you live, but I promise you most Target stores aren't that sophisticated. I quit 4 years ago, but I worked there for a couple of years as a security guard. My last store, fairly high volume but low crime, still had mostly analog cameras. They switched to digital recording a few years earlier, but the cameras themselves had by and large remained same. Plus they have to notice it missing in the first place. Only perishable on my regular patrol list was baby formula. Don't think I ever investigated a single thing missing from grocer in 2.5 years in roll. What I am getting at here is you're probably good, fam. I once bought a Blu-ray in a security case at Target by going through the self-checkout line. Obviously had no way of taking the case off, but it didn't even occur to me. I walked through the front door and the security system beeped at me, but for some reason I was still completely oblivious. I got halfway to my car before I realized the mistake I made. And I had to embarrassingly walk back into the store and tell a cashier what happened and show them my receipt. I'm lucky I didn't throw away the receipt on the way out, which I considered not illegal, but I'm sure I looked very suspicious as I walked out of that store. Was geocaching with my significant other, and we didn't realize the GPS had led us to private property. A guy working at the property thought we were 2 teenagers. We both look young, up to no good, headed for the woods behind the building. We got the cops called on us and had to explain to the officer what we were doing and what geocaching was. For those that don't know, geocaching is basically the hiding of small containers by other people, sometimes with little trinkets inside, and finding them with clues and GPS coordinates. My high school had a zero tolerance for knives, medicine, scissors and such things. I was in English class and the teacher was trying to open a bag of chips and was failing. He looked at the class and asked if anyone had a way to open the chips. Without thinking I pull out my pocket knife and hold it up for him to see. He looks up and shakes his head. There must have been a dozen hands raised with a knife in hand. He walked up to me and took the knife. He opened his chips and then brought the knife back to me. I silently took it and not a word was said to anyone about his well-armed class. I accidentally broke into a house. Does that count? My sis and I were asked to grab the mail for some neighbors on vacation and leave it in the garage near the door. In their garage, they've got a coded key box thing, where you put in the code. The box opens, and there's a key inside. I happened to see them putting in the code before, because we were friends with their kids and hung out with them often, so I knew how to get the key. I thought it'd be even nicer if we brought the mail inside, so I got the key and unlocked the door. Well, it turns out they had an alarm system inside that I didn't know the code for. I opened the door, the alarm sounded, and I sprinted home and saw the police like 15 minutes later pulling up to their driveway. We weren't asked to help them again. Something similar happened to me. I was at school on a Saturday. I was in the band and we were going to the football game. I was thirsty, so I went upstairs to get a pop from the vending machine. Accidentally set off the silent alarm that I didn't know the school had. When I was in high school I used to babysit for a family I knew. I would go to their house after school. They gave me a key, wait for the kid to get home, and watch him until the parents got home from work a couple hours later. One week they were out of town for a funeral. I wasn't sure when they were getting back, so I went to their house like usual just in case and was going to leave if the kid didn't get off the bus. I unlocked the door with the key and all of a sudden their alarm system started going off and they never gave me the code. It was incredibly loud. Then the phone was ringing and it was the alarm company asking if everything was okay. I explained the situation and the person on the phone told me to wait outside so the police can come check everything is okay. I had to describe what I was wearing. I went out on the porch and locked the house again. The company had stopped the alarm at that point. The police came and I explained to the officer, and he was understanding. Then I realized I still had their phone in my hand. I wasn't about to open the door again, so I just took it home and brought it back after the family got back. Turning on the car light while my dad was driving. "I'm sorry Dad, I just dropped my DS and I needed to find it, please forgive me." Not sure it's illegal, but once I was walking around the city quietly getting drunk. Went to a store to use the restroom. I did my business and as I walked out I realized I was leaving the female restroom. Oops. Frozen would have ended real quick if the parents didn't care about Elsa hiding her powers. Or just listened to the trolls when they said, if she fears her powers, they'll consume her. Or, been better parents. Or looked into someone teaching her how to control her powers since she isn't the only one in the kingdom with them. Or worked on changing the kingdom's culture. Blew past a school bus with its stop sign out. Happened during my early days of driving. I was driving down a multi-lane road in an unfamiliar area and I just didn't see it. Humongous yellow bus, bright red stop sign, and it didn't even register until the driver slammed the horn as I passed. Thank God I didn't hit anyone. I almost cried when I realized what happened. Helped me become a lot more aware as a driver after that. I didn't hear the ambulance everybody else was stopping for. I thought the person in front of me was being an idiot and I zoomed around the car at the intersection right in front of the ambulance. I was the idiot. I was the stopped car once a couple of years ago. Guy did the same thing. Honked like crazy at me. Had his music blaring. He finally went around me, was apparently oblivious to my and another car's warning honks, and zoomed through the intersection. The ambulance came so close to him it looked like they'd collided for a second. Hope he learned something. Or I've done this. That's the day I stopped having music loud when driving. It's a ridiculous distraction. Didn't you notice the word ambulance in your rear view mirror? Hell, they write it backwards for a reason. Stopped in Las Vegas on a spring break road trip, had dinner, then tried to go out to a campground outside of Vegas but it was full. Found a hotel but friends didn't want to spend the money to split a hotel room, so we decided to just set up camp off the road a bit. Woke up to an officer knocking on the tent, got ticketed and lectured how many people drive through this area and there's certain things they do and do not want to see, and then we were escorted out of Vegas. My two favorite parts of the story: ticket was $20 more than the cost for us getting 2 hotel rooms, and I can say that in the city of sin, with all the shenanigans people get up to there, my actions were so bad I got escorted out of the city. I absent-mindedly walked out of a store with a video game in my hand and didn't even realize it until I got to my car. The funny thing is, the store had those scanner things by the door that make an alarm go off if you take an item through them that had not been checked out. The game I had in my hands was one of those discounted games they used to put in those orange DVD boxes. So I guess the store didn't bother putting the tags in those that make the alarm go off at the door. I did the same thing with an MP3 player. Tells you how long ago this was. I was looking at MP3 players, and I used one of them as a clipboard to take notes on prices and specs. I finished taking notes and left, completely forgetting the MP3 player in hand. I did an immediate U-turn and walked back in to put it back. Now for the kicker. On my way back in, the security guy at the front of the store stopped me and said that needs to have a sticker on it to prove that you came in with it. I replied with, "I'm sorry sir, but I'll level with you. I wasn't supposed to leave with it." He then let me in to put it back on the shelf. My saving grace was that I'm in Canada, and we tolerate mistakes. Thank you for watching this video. If you want more Reddit content like this, please subscribe and like this video. I guess I will see you in the next one.